To start, plug in the scanner onto a USB port in the front of your computer and put your work face down onto the scanner. Make sure that your picture is touching the glass. Then go to File, Import, WIA Support. You can hit OK, make sure it's selecting the CanoScan LIDE 220 and hit OK. We're going to go ahead and pick color. You can pick black and white if you want, or grayscale, but a lot of times those simplify the color image. You can preview it or just hit scan. In this case, I hit scan. Now, some students, when they scan from their sketchbook, worry about getting the spiral in there. I would say that you don't have to worry about it, but if all of your work is not going to have a spiral, then crop it. So, how you would do this is first, we want to go ahead and go to Image, Rotate Image, 90 degrees, and CW stands for clockwise. If you wanted it counterclockwise, you would hit CCW. From here, I will go ahead and notice a couple things about it. One is that the ink has shown up really well, but the pencil gets a little faded. That's because pencil's made of graphite, and graphite is reflective. So when you scan it and the light hits it, it actually shows up as lighter. It's one reason why if you want a good scan, if you want something to look dynamic on your work, a lot of times it's better to ink it. But you can also go to Image, Adjustments, and go to a couple different filters. I start with Brightness Contrast. Now the contrast will get rid of that brightness, or I guess the difference between the white and the dark. So less contrast is not actually lightening or darkening the image per se. It's making sure that the difference between your blacks and your whites aren't as great. And then you can do a brightness or a darkness to get more information. Actually, that works pretty well for me, as I put it on a high contrast but a low brightness. I also like Image, Adjustment, Hue, Saturation. This one allows you to increase the color amount, although don't go crazy. But if I wanted those eyes to glow more, I could increase the color amount. You can also decrease the color amount. So if you want something black and white, it's usually known as desaturating it. And I feel like the desaturate option gives me kind of more to work with than if I just use a black and white filter. Now lightness, I don't like as much because it just gives like a white film or a black film over the whole thing. All you're doing is you're increasing the amount of an overlay of just a solid white color or a solid black color, but there might be some points where that's useful. Now hue will change the hue of the color, but separately. So in this case, it's turned my yellow to blue and it's turned my red to green. So we're getting closer to the opposite colors. But notice that doesn't work necessarily uniformly. You can also hit Colorize, and this will add a tint of one color to the entire thing. So I could make it all red tinted or green tinted or blue tinted. But I don't really like that option. Now for more specific controls, you can go to Image, Adjustments, and then Color Balance. Now, if I think this looks a little yellow, I can always put in a little of the other color to kind of offset that and get it looking more white. I don't want to go nuts or it will tint the whole thing that color. Now you can change it for midtones, for shadows, or for highlights. So I'm noticing, especially in this white, I have a little too much red. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it until it looks honestly more white. Now from there, I can crop it. And I did that by hitting this crop tool right here. I can move it around the crop area, or I can just shrink these bars. So if I decided I didn't want the words on it, if I just wanted the drawings, I could kind of increase that in. Now, I could erase, but I'm going to get just this white color. So there is a way, actually, let's go back to history right here, keep track of everything I've done. So there is a way that I can color this and make it look more uniform. And that's this tool right here. It's called a clone stamp. If I hit Alt on my keyboard, it says, take this area. I want you to color that area somewhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and color over. Now I can keep redefining that if I know I'm about to hit something. So I decided I liked my scribble that looked more like this. Now it will remember what was there. So unless you let go of the mouse, it's going to keep doing that tone. And sometimes the trick is getting the right area so that the color matches. The other thing I could do is I could color any other area. So let's say I wanted to copy this. I decided I wanted that eye here. I could go through and do a little work so that I could kind of match this together. I'm just looking for an area that's small enough that may be closer to what I need. From here, to turn this in to keep it not as a Photoshop document, but to make it something where you can open it on other computers, you would go to File, Save As, and I'm going to select either a JPEG or a PNG. Remember, PNG will keep transparency or your alpha, and JPEG won't, but it's simple. I'll make it a little JPEG. Name it Escagator without text. .jpg. Under JPG options, it'll say what quality do you want it. You can have it low or high. Even a high quality image isn't that large, so I usually save high and then scale down later if I need. And if I decided maybe I wanted to keep editing this, or maybe I wanted to remember everything I'd done on it, especially if I had layers, which we'll get to later, you can save the Photoshop document as well. Just know that most of you won't be able to open that. So I could go to Photoshop, without text, save. And then I usually work off the Photoshop documents and I keep the others kind of for my purposes or to share or to put on a website. I wouldn't put your Photoshop document on, especially if you've done a lot of work or have a lot of layers, because if you put that on your portfolio, then people don't need to necessarily buy it from you to edit it. I just usually save a lower quality copy and put that on a website. That way, if they want to do anything or they want to print it out or they want a good copy, they have to buy it from me. Anyway, thank you.